This is CBC Here and Now.
I noticed the red and blue lights on my garage roll-up door.
And that's when the female officer smashed the window in our house.
Bottom line is, the video tells the story. And the Balls were lucky to have a video.
Tonight, an incident involving RNC officers caught on camera.
An independent report calls for charges, so why haven't any been laid? Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Anthony Germain.
And I'm Debbie Cooper. A family in Paradise is angry and wants justice after an encounter with police at their home nearly 2 years ago. They say 3 Royal Newfoundland Constabulary officers should be criminally charged.
An independent investigator hired by the government recommended that should happen, that charges be laid, but they never were. Here and Now's Ariana Kellen has this exclusive CBC Investigates report.
It's November 2017 and Dennis Ball is returning home from work. He drives by an accident scene, rolls down the window. He says he yells at police to direct traffic, does a U-turn, then drives to his house.
I noticed the red and blue lights on my garage roll-up door, and I knew then who it was the police. I didn't know why they were there. I had a feeling they were chasing me, of course, or they showed up for me.
There's no sound, but this video surveillance from the family's home captured what happens over the next 10 minutes.
He said I was under arrest for flying through the intersection like a mad person, screeching tires. And I told him, I never done that.
Dennis Ball's son rushed outside to see what was happening.
He kept saying, stop getting close when I wasn't close to him at all. And I guess he must have felt threatened in some way or whatever, because he ended up pepper spraying me.
Skin burning, Zachary Ball goes back inside the house. 2 other officers arrive, but he had no intention of letting them in.
They told me to open the door, and I told them to get a warrant because I didn't think they had any reason to come into my house, come to our home and do what they were doing. And that's when the female officer smashed the window in our house.
Both men would be arrested, but not before Zachary Ball was struck in the head by one of the arresting officers. An escalation of chaos that they say never should have happened. Dennis and Zachary Ball would end up spending the night here at the St. John's lockup, facing charges of dangerous driving, obstruction of justice, resisting arrest, and causing a disturbance. But after the prosecution viewed those videos and reviewed the evidence, these charges were withdrawn.
That's great, the charges went away, but in my opinion, charges never should have happened. So the fact that, they were withdrawn doesn't take away from what the Balls have been through. The bottom line is, the video tells the story, and the Balls were lucky to have a video.
So all I'll say is that when I looked at it, I decided that this needed to be investigated by a cert.
The file went to the Ontario Provincial Police with local lawyer Gus Bruce at the helm, overseeing the investigation and writing a report. In early March, the family got the results they were waiting for. Bruce determined the arrests of Dennis and Zachary Ball were unlawful, pepper spraying and hitting Zachary Ball not justified, and no reasonable grounds to break the window either. He recommended all 3 officers be criminally charged, the most serious being assault causing bodily harm. But those recommendations were just that, recommendations. Charges weren't laid. The province's top prosecutor explains why.
In every case, it's important to look at the facts, and it's unfortunate that sometimes we don't proceed in cases where people really want us to proceed with charges, but we're not the lawyers for individual people.
Hollett says it's just not a strong enough case to bring before the courts.
We looked at the file, and in our determination, there was no reasonable prospect of conviction.
I don't know why we even bother and spend the money in this province, because they're spending taxpayers' money to do all of these inquiries. Why are we paying the money for something, then you get a recommendation and you just brush it away?
And what I saw in that video, that was crisis invention, and that was escalation. And I thought to myself, how is this happening?
The officers involved are on administrative duties while waiting for the results from an internal complaints investigation. The chief makes no excuses and won't say his thoughts on the video for now. He says training is always getting better and that great strides have been made in responding to difficult calls.
I know how hard our officers work here. I know sometimes, an incident can damage a reputation, it can damage a relationship, especially when I think about vulnerable people, right? And sometimes when you lose that trust, it's very hard to get it back. But we will continue to work hard to do that, to build those relationships, to make sure that we provide the best and professional service that we can to this community.
For Dennis Ball, his relationship with police has always been rocky. He has a lengthy criminal record, but hasn't had a conviction in 8 years. He served his time. Now he says it's time for those officers to serve theirs.
Justice is justice, law is law. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they're breaking the law and they're hiding stuff. They're trying to get away with what they done here. Someone is brushing it underneath the rugs.
Ariana Kelland, CBC News, Paradise.
Meanwhile, the Justice Minister is hopeful the province's own serious incident response team will be up and running this year.
Andrew Parsons says a director will be hired soon to provide independent oversight of possible police wrongdoing, and he says that oversight helps to maintain public trust in the process.
In some cases there are charges that are laid, some that are not, but the fact is people know now that there's an independent overseer, and it's not just good for the citizenry, it's actually good for the police, because the police know that they're, in the vast majority of cases, doing good work, and they don't mind having their work scrutinized because this is their job, this is their life. So they welcome the oversight as well, so it's really been a benefit to everybody.
Much better weather today. Finally seeing that low pressure system that's been affecting the northeast coast off, and clear skies for the most part today across the province. Just some cloud cover moving through eastern Newfoundland as well as the Avalon. We saw some showers with that as well. The next weather maker will move in as we head through the night tonight as far as that cloud cover goes, but temperatures today. Take a look at what the temperature was for Lab City. 27 degrees was the afternoon high so far, about a degree and a half off of the warmest in the country. And if you take a look at what other temperatures around are, Myrtle Beach sitting at 27 degrees, so you don't have to go too far if you're in Labrador to see those warm temperatures. Now, as we head through the next couple of days, that rain that's going to move in is going to cool things down, but I'll have all those details coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, it's budget day again. The Liberal government re-announced its financial plans for the province this afternoon. But all of that was overshadowed by what else happened at the House of Assembly today. Here now is Katie Breen is going to walk us through all of this. So Katie, let's start with the budget.
Well, it's the exact same as it was 2 months ago before the election. You know, the Liberals are bringing in the same plan and hoping it passes as is. We'll have days to get into all the details of it as MHAs debate everything. But one thing in this province that people don't have to debate: Muskrat Falls and just how expensive it is. Flooding of the dam is expected to happen this summer, and today the Premier confirmed he had a meeting with Labrador's Indigenous leaders about that. The meeting was over recommendations from the Independent Advisory Committee. One of the recommendations is removing vegetation from the project's reservoir, but not all committee members agree that should happen. They'll need to come to a consensus before a decision can be made, and Ball says leaders want to get that process going.
They all agreed that they would respond to the draft terms of reference with their suggestions, because this is driven by these Indigenous groups and the communities involved along the way there. So that would be, they will reply to us, and through our Department of Municipal Affairs and Environment, we would take the lead on setting the stage for the next meeting.
And Katie, that's not the only Labrador issue that came up today. What's happening with the North Coast boat?
Well, the route changed. Freight used to go up the coast from Lewisport, but now it's going to leave from Happy Valley Goose Bay. The new Torngat Mountains MHA says that change is costing her constituents, but the minister says it should actually save them money.
If you were to take a snowmobile, for example, and ship it out of Lewisport a year ago, it would have cost roughly $140 to ship that snowmobile to Makobik. Under the new arrangement, to ship that snowmobile from from Goose Bay to McCovick is around $40.
But what you don't understand is that if you buy a snowmobile from Lewisport, you'll probably save a minimum of $1,500. And then you still, now you have to truck that snowmobile all the way up to Goose Bay, so you got to pay the trucking costs, right? And then you got to pay the extra $40 to get it to the North Coast.
The North Coast Ferry isn't on the run just yet. Ice conditions, they're not fit, but Evans hopes to bring attention to this issue now so change can happen before the boat sets sail. Live in St. John's, I'm Katie Breen for Here and Now.
Some patients in this province undergoing a life-saving treatment for kidney disease are facing a setback. Fewer dialysis chairs at a Mount Pearl clinic. The head of the Kidney Foundation says it is a major disruption in the day-to-day lives of about 12 patients who go to this new dialysis unit in Mount Pearl Square. Part of the center is now closed to patients after water and mold damage shut down 6 dialysis chairs. Dialysis must be done 3 times a week to filter and purify a person's blood. That treatment can take anywhere from 3 to 4 hours, and that doesn't factor in the time it takes to set up the equipment or travel time. Trina Ralph says any disruption is a major upheaval for patients, and missing treatment is not an option.
Dialysis is a very harsh treatment, is a life-sustaining treatment, and any changes to that schedule can impact work, social activities. It's year end. Any people with young families, maybe with a change in schedule, maybe missing school activities with their children. So it has a huge ripple effect, and that's felt very emotionally by the patients.
Last year, patients were relocated to that new treatment center when the Waterford Hospital site was shut down. Today, Eastern Health told us those patients are either being rescheduled at the center or are getting their treatments at the Health Sciences Center or St. Clair's. The Health Authority also plans to open an additional 6 temporary dialysis stations at the Mount Pearl Square location later this week.
Well, the economics might be improving for Indigenous people in Canada. That change isn't happening fast enough. That's according to the Indigenous Economic Development Board. It released an update to their economic progress report this week in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. Here Now's Jacob Barker has this look at that group's findings.
Well, this study began in 2012, and it's being done to gauge just how the economic situations of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people stack up against non-Indigenous Canadians.
We primarily look at 3 indicators: employment, income, and community well-being. Median income is a key indicator of economic progress.
The group set a target. By 2022, Indigenous and non-Indigenous people will have parity when it comes to their economic situation. Here we are just 3 years away from that target year, and while the group says there have been some improvements, right now things are falling short.
We're not on track to meeting that goal in Canada, and what that says is that we have a lot of work to do in this country. Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, we have to work together to close these gaps.
The report does highlight some positives. As of 2016, Indigenous students surpassed non-Indigenous students by over 2.5% for college and trade school completion rates. The gap in high school completion rates have narrowed by 4.5%, and the gap in median income levels has narrowed by over 9%. On the other hand, there has been no change in the gap when it comes to employment rates, and when it comes to university completion, the gap has actually gotten bigger.
Higher income occupations and careers are not where most Indigenous people are being employed. They are in the lower income careers and occupations. So there's a big gap to be filled there. And how do you fill the gap? Well, you fill it through increased resources being applied to training, to developing local economies, to encouraging and supporting Indigenous people into higher levels of education.
Delorme also says that the greatest gains are being made by Métis and to a lesser extent Inuit populations, but when it comes to First Nations on reserves, it's a different story.
On almost all indicators, the gap is still quite significant for First Nations on reserve.
The report says that Indigenous economic development is an integral component of reconciliation, and also points out that finding a route to economic parity would provide $27.7 billion to the Canadian economy. It's a persuasive argument and a push to the federal government to implement, as the report puts it, policies and programs that respond to the unique needs and circumstances of Indigenous peoples. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Happy Valley Goose Bay.
It was a day of gruesome testimony at the second-degree murder trial for Craig Pope. The former chief medical examiner took the stand this morning and outlined his autopsy of the victim, Jonathan Collins. Here now's Ryan Cook reports.
It wasn't a pretty sight this morning as Simon Avis opened a booklet of autopsy photos. For him, it was one of 120 homicide victims he's autopsied in his career, but for the families and the jurors in the courtroom, it's a sight you hope you never have to see. Jonathan Collins' parents weren't in court this morning as Craig Pope walked towards the prisoner's box. They sat this one out, mercifully. Dr. Simon Avis talked about their son's fatal injury and what his last moments would be like. The Crown says the 36-year-old father of two was stabbed by Craig Pope during a street fight in 2017. Avis told the jury the wound had punctured the largest artery in his stomach. It would only be a couple minutes until he went into irreversible shock. Pope took one look at a booklet of autopsy photos and then put it away. Some jurors also averted their gaze. In the afternoon, DNA expert Louise Cloutier testified about blood evidence found in the taxi cab spotted leaving the scene of the crime. It belonged to Craig Pope, and blood on Pope's clothes belonged to Jonathan Collins. Testimony continues tomorrow morning. Ryan Cook, CBC News, St. John's.
The swim team in Clarenville is signing up swimmers despite not having a place for them to actually practice. The Wave Runner Swim Club used to meet at the Wave Hotel, but that building burned down in February. The hotel pool was the only one in the community, and as Here Now's Katie Breen tells us tonight, even without a pool, the swimmers are determined to keep their team together.
The Wave Runners have always been a little unconventional. Their home base was a hotel, and they made it work. So, keeping a team going without a pool? Not a problem.
We're letting any of the existing wave runners register so that they can attend the different swim meets that are around the province. Everyone's sort of on their own for how they're going to figure out how they're going to train for this summer, but it at least gives the kids the opportunity to go to the meets and meet their friends from past summers.
When fire ripped through the hotel, it was devastating not only for the team, but the community. The Wave served almost as a rec center. People could swim, go to the gym. Last summer, the Wave Runners built up a banner season there, and they were hoping to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, we won the Provincial championships last year for the summer teams against, I think, 11 other teams, and we broke 16 records.
The prized pool looks like this now, and the team realizes winning without water, probably not likely. But I did speak with the owner of the Wave Hotel Friday. He's rebuilding the rooms, and he's hopeful he can get the pool back up and running too. He said he's been meeting with the town of Clarenville, and he's optimistic. So's the team.
It'll mean everything to have it back, because it doesn't look like the town is going to build a community pool or anything like that, so we're really depending on Alex and the hotel building it back.
Katie Breen, CBC News, Clarenville.
Now, the RCMP and the fire commissioner investigated that fire at the Wave Hotel back in February, and they determined that it wasn't arson and no criminal charges will be laid.
Good evening, I'm Doug Leto.
And I'm Debbie Cooper. A full 1-hour edition of Here and Now tonight.
Back a little later.
Okay.
Thanks again, Sam.
Okay.
See you later.
Another first on Here and Now. This is the second time in 7 years that the Newfoundland Association of Public Employees has been struck by its members. Some experts who studied the topic feel there may be 3 things working together to create violence in hockey. Well, as a general rule, the phrase man's best friend applies to this noble beast. But as we all know, there are exceptions to every rule. And there's no doubt in this case, Daisy is that exception.
Oh, there you go.
Jamesy is that exception.
You can't wait to see all these.
That was the very beginning of my work as a reporter on Here and Now.
Yeah.
Can't you tell?
Some nice moments. Some nice moments. If you missed it, Debbie announced that she's going to be leaving a week from Friday, retiring. I like the shoulder pads there with Leto.
Yeah.
I think those have been donated to the St. John's Edge as part of a uniform contribution program. But
Oh, it was very in style back then.
you've always had style. Anyway, we'll have lots of Debbie moments to come up in the weeks and days.
Yeah, lots of them. You know that.
Anyway, what are we going to experience in the web? Oh, we've got the iceberg video.
Yes,
First,
Right.
sorry.
from Daisy to calving.
Yeah. Take a look at this.
Wow.
So everything looks pristine. You know what's going to happen here.
It starts.
This.
Oh, wow.
And there's an interesting backstory here too, right?
Oh,
With
I
Eric.
don't know about it. With what?
With Eric Abbott, the guy who took it. Right?
Yeah, so he shot it early Saturday morning and says he was the only one at the water at the time.
The early bird definitely got the worm. You can check that out. Pretty spectacular.
Oh, it is. So thanks a lot for sharing that with us, Erica. I didn't hear a big boom.
No.
No. Maybe it's because it was flatter.
Maybe. It just blows my mind how it just falls apart, disintegrates.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, no, it was gorgeous. Thank you, Eric. It was great. He actually said that he was the only person there too, as we mentioned. So once, at least he got to share it with us.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, can you share some of that Lab West weather with us?
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Myrtle Beach and Lab City.
Myrtle Beach, Lab City, same temperature. So if you were in Labrador, you don't have to travel very far. So that's kind of nice to see beachy weather. But no, it's not going to last, unfortunately. It's going to be quite quick. But we'll take a look at those temperatures one more time. Daytime highs reaching the 20-degree mark for Happy Valley Goose Bay. And then same for Deer Lake, Corner Brook, similar temperatures. And then it was warmer than yesterday for the northeast coast, finally reaching those double digits, 13 degrees in St. John. So why are we seeing these warmer temperatures? Well, it's where that jet stream is right now. We can see that southerly flow pulling all of that air up right now, and as we head through the next couple of hours, really, those temperatures are going to significantly drop. So still currently sitting at 27 degrees right now, 19 in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Those temperatures have dropped for St. John's at 8 degrees, and we can thank some of that cloud cover for that. As we saw that this afternoon, and some showers move through as well, but as we head through the next couple of hours, that should clear out with some fair skies as we head through the overnight tonight. But we can see that next weather maker is going to move in, especially for Lab West, bringing that potential for some showers. Those temperatures, like I said, are going to drop right along with it, and then we're going to eventually see some cloud cover spread across the island as we head towards the morning hour. So here's a look at your temperatures. 5 degrees for St. John's, 11 in Corner Brook, so still in the double digits overnight tonight, and then 7 in Port aux Basques with that potential for showers moving in by morning. Now, slight chance in the next couple of hours we could see a few passing showers for eastern Newfoundland, but other than that, just partly cloudy skies as we head towards the morning hours. Southwesterlies, though, 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Lab City's going to drop to 4 degrees, which means things should stay as rain for the overnight tonight. That's going to change as we head towards tomorrow, and then 8 degrees for Happy Valley Goose Bay. Now, the reason why things are going to change is because we've got some colder air wrapping around for Lab City. So you could even see some snow or wet snow through the day. Otherwise, we're going to see periods of rain move across the island, heavy at times as well. And then eventually some clearing skies behind that. Now, likely going to see some lingering showers for the northern peninsula tomorrow, and then up through Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and towards the coast as well into the evening hours, but eventually some clearing for Lab West. Now, those temperatures a little cooler than what we're seeing today. 15 in St. John's tomorrow with those southerly winds. They're going to pick up right across the board, so anywhere from 40 to 60 km/h gusts tomorrow. Clarenville 13, 14 for Marystown, and then heading towards Grand Falls, Windsor, similar temperatures in those teens, and then Harbour Breton, a little cooler at 9 degrees. Same with those double-digit temperatures for Port aux Basques, Burgeo. Again, showers in the morning and then clearing for you earlier on in the afternoon. 12 degrees for Stephenville, and then similar temperatures as we head up towards the northern peninsula. 10 for St. Anthony. Again, those southeasterlies, 20 to 30 km/h. Now heading towards Happy Valley, Goose Bay, much cooler, about 10 degrees cooler than what we're seeing today, 11, and only a high near 6 degrees with that potential for some showers and some flurries. You can see those northwesterlies switching to 40 to 60 km/h. So let's look at your forecast. We'll look a little bit ahead towards the weekend when I come back.
Thanks, Ashley. There's a new way to get from the mainland to the Fogo Island Inn. Of course, these things come at a price.
Indeed. A direct flight from Halifax is now being offered twice a week over the summer. That means a 3-night trip from Halifax to Fogo will set you back about $10,000.
The charter, operated by Gander-based Evis Air, is only available for guests who are staying at that high-end hotel.
Actually, it is something they've been asking for. Our guests tend to have, not so much time. And when they only have 3 or 4 days, they really didn't want to have to spend overnight somewhere else prior to getting to us. And so we thought, well, if it's a need and it's in demand, then we should try it and see how it works. So this year we're doing a 2-month trial run, and we'll see how it goes. If it goes really well, then it's something we'll consider for the future.
You know, the Here and Now team was pitching together to find a place for your retirement party.
Oh,
it was that or Pippi Park, so we'll let you pick.
Well, I think it's a great idea for those well-heeled guests that travel. A lot of them from the States.
Yeah.
Right. So, anyway, there you go. Yeah. I won't be going.
I learned that the ocean is more fun than I thought.
Divers, beachcombers, and biology.
Making World Oceans Day at Middle Cove Beach. That's ahead. Welcome back to Here Now. Kathy Bennett says she does not support the hydro project that Muskrat Falls has become. Kathy Bennett was on Nalcor's board of directors before she became finance minister with the Liberals in 2015. And this morning, she told the public inquiry that she supported the project at the price tag of $6.2 billion. But as the costs rose, she said the risks associated with it weren't quantified or fully understood.
Based on my experience over the last decade, I would suggest that Newfoundland and Labrador never take on a capital project of this size ever again. I don't believe that it's in the best interest of the people of the province, and it's certainly something that I regret supporting. I supported a $6.2 billion project, and that's not where we are today.
Well, despite the windy weather, some ocean lovers from Memorial University took a crowd of elementary school students to Middle Cove Beach today.
And this was all to mark World Oceans Day. Divers from the Department of Ocean Sciences braved the waves while the students combed the shore. The St. John's Morning Show's Fred Hutton swung by to check it out.
So we have a number of groups with us today. We have scientific divers from the Department of Ocean Science. We have an invasive species group from the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. We have Parks Canada here with us today. And we're also doing a beach cleanup. So the kids are participating in a number of activities and rotating through the stations and just enjoying and learning about the ocean environment.
My name is Jacob. Well, I learned about native and invasive species. I learned how to gut a fish.
Was that gross?
Not really. It was only fake, so.
We played a game called Invasion. I can't say it.
Invasive?
Yeah, species. And so like there's these little mats, and there's a green crab, and the green crab, the lady plays the music, and then you go to your habitat, and then the ones that are left, the green crab takes them away. So like it adds up to like no evasion. There's no species left.
What did you learn here today, Sophie?
How to take care of the beach. Pick up garbage, and if you find any garbage, put in the garbage.
What did you pick up today? Did you find anything?
Yeah, we found nails and wrappers, and glass.
We learned that like there's crabs and like they're male and female, and we learned about how they cut fish and the green crab, how they destroy habitats.
I learned that the ocean is more fun than I thought.
Really? Why?
Because I got to touch live animals.
Like what?
Like sea cucumbers and starfish and crabs.
This one, I think we'll go.
That's great. They'll never forget that.
No. Sea cucumbers and all those creatures in the touchy tank. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Sundays may be for service, but a CBS church says it's time to get with the times.
Calling all local musicians. This could be the site of your next gig. Welcome back to Here and Now. It's a space built for worship, but one church in CBS is hoping to earn some new parishioners and extra funding by renting the space for non-religious activities like concerts.
These things have always been the same.
These musicians are rehearsing for a performance in St. Peter's Anglican Church in Upper Gullies this weekend. With congregations across the province and indeed across the country shrinking in size, the church is trying to find creative ways to stay relevant and engage with the community. And one way is to offer itself as a performance venue to bands.
Well, we're a part of the world, and our motto in the Anglican Church in recent years is the church has left the building, and so we're very much sensitive that there has to be much more going on in a parish than what happens on a Sunday morning.
Some people can be
For a church to survive, it has to do so on the support of its membership. So, you know, what we're doing with concerts and things, these are all supplementary things, but the core of our funding has to come in through free will giving through our collection plate.
You've got to kind of adapt and change with the times, yeah, if you want to survive. So I see how successful this space could be as a performance venue, and it's only been, like I say, a little sliver of the pie for them of all of the things that they do, but I do see the potential for it to be a little bit of a bigger piece for them.
You know it isn't hard to say.
These old churches, you know, there's so many around Newfoundland, and they're beautiful, and they have fantastic acoustics, of course. That's sort of one of those common things that everybody, I think, knows, no matter how much detail they know about what that means. I think everyone sort of goes, oh, I'd like to see music in a church, you know, because they've experienced it in some way, whether it's been them going to church themselves or whatever, and they just, you know, they're aware that they're in for kind of a special music, sonic experience.
Great sound.
It is lovely, isn't it, with all the wood around them? It's just a warmth to the sound. It's lovely. What a great idea. That I'm sure bands are welcoming it, and good for the church.
A lot of talent to those four people that were right there.
Welcome back. And
Well, there
here
you
she
are.
Sorry.
is with the very latest on the weather forecast.
That's right.
Okay, take it away.
What are we going to do about the weather? Yeah.
Blast from the past. How are you?
Good,
Nice to
good.
see
Never mind you.
Oh my God.
Congratulations.
Jonathan Crow.
I was going to bring half a dozen beer, but I figured.
Well, listen, I'm going to give up my chair because this is
Lovely to meet you, Ashley. How are
This
you?
is Jonathan
Yeah,
Crow.
nice to see you too.
I love what you're wearing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yes, so
Oh
this
my
kind of feels like a
goodness.
party when the ex shows up. So I'm going to leave Debbie and get your own lift home tonight. I'm done here.
Yeah.
Oh my
Hopefully
goodness.
this won't hurt too much, Anthony.
Oh,
How are you?
I'm
Oh.
well. Oh, long time
You
no
finally
chat.
did it, eh?
Yeah. I've made the big decision.
Yeah, good for you.
Just
You'll
look
like
who's
it.
here,
You'll
look
like it.
who's
I was
here.
going to bring you in a can of salmon just in case, just in case you weren't lucky. Yeah.
Oh my, look at this.
Yeah.
How are you?
Sobies.
I didn't say he wasn't cheap.
No, that's true. That is
I'm fantastic.
Bubbly. Oh, very, very
Yeah, there
nice.
we go. Yeah.
Everybody knows.
Did we get a
I like-
commercial break to drink it?
Yeah, you can do that when I do my weather.
This
How's
is
that?
so nice of you to come in.
Oh, well, you know,
you've
it's,
been gone now, how long? A couple of years?
3
right?
years, yeah.
3.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of fun times here. The 10
Well,
years we worked together.
I'm here to tell you there's a whole other world out there, which may or may not include fish, salmon. Yeah.
I'll get my license.
You'll love
and
it.
I'll get a fish.
You'll love it. I'll see you around Kitty Vitty.
Yeah.
I'll also see you in a couple of
Yeah.
you and me.
Thanks. Now, what kind of impression are you leaving with all the viewers here
With,
now?
I'm with the young meteorologists here.
Oh, my
All right.
goodness.
Well, should we let her do the weather?
I think
You think
you
I wanna
should
do the
take
job?
it away.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
No problem.
And
Well,
thank you. Thank you.
I'm staying here. I'm not leaving.
yeah, he's gonna stay for a little while.
Staying
Oh,
here.
okay.
Can't get rid of me. Lock the studio door.
That's a great idea. Well, I'm going to let you two chat while I do the weather there. But we're looking at temperatures over the next couple of days getting a lot warmer. So that's good news for Thursday, right?
Yeah.
So take a look at the future tracker. You can see things will clear out across the island. Just the slight chance we'll see some lingering showers and some cloud cover along the northeast coast through the afternoon on Thursday, but otherwise it looks quite nice. Those temperatures are going to recover as well with the next system moving in for Friday, but overall not a bad afternoon in store. Those temperatures sitting in the mid to high teens, should reach a high near 18 degrees for St. John's, 20 in Grand Falls, Windsor, and then we've got those warmer temperatures as well along the west coast, 19 for Corner Brook, another 21-ish degree day up through Lab City and Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and then those temperatures around 12 degrees for Nain with plenty of sunshine. Now, looking a little bit ahead into Friday morning, it doesn't look like we should see too much in the way of precipitation, maybe the chance of a few showers along the western portion of Labrador and then the southwest coast as well into Friday overnight, but it's Saturday when that next system will roll in and bring some rainfall with it. Not significant, but some rainfall with it through the afternoon. That's going to spread across the province. By Sunday morning, we should see some peaks of sun as well, with that potential for a few showers continuing through the weekend. So it does look a little bit unsettled, but not a washout as far as that weather goes. Now, Sunday evening, some more rain will move in for Lab West, but those temperatures going to drop a little bit. So here's a look at the next 5 days for St. John's and eastern Newfoundland. Tomorrow, that rain will move in heavy at times through the day, and then windy as well across the province. We're looking at gusts anywhere from 40 to 60 kilometers per hour. Thursday, 18 degrees and sunshine. That certainly looks like the best day. A little breezy though through the day. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with that chance of showers. 10 to 12 degrees it looks like. Those numbers will likely bump a couple of degrees over the next few days once we iron that out. Central Newfoundland, 15 degrees tomorrow, 20 on Thursday, and then Friday staying in those teens. Again, Not completely a washout for Saturday and Sunday, but still looking at that chance of a few showers. And then for Western Newfoundland, same thing, 14 degrees tomorrow, 19 for your Thursday and Friday, and then a little dip in temperatures on Saturday. And then into Sunday, we're looking at 21 degrees. Now for Eastern Labrador, 11 tomorrow, so cooler than today, but we get right back into those 20 degree temperatures rather for Thursday and Friday. And then dipping for Saturday and Sunday with that chance of showers. Again, not entirely sure that we'll see too much rain, but still have that potential for rain in the forecast there. And then for Western Labrador, 6 degrees tomorrow. So very different from the 27 that we saw today. 21 on Thursday, so you'll get back into those nice temperatures and then back into the teens to start off the weekend. So that's a look at your forecast. I'll have your weather photo when I come back.
Thanks,
How do
Ashley.
you open this anyway?
You've got to get to work now. You insist on staying.
All right.
Do you remember how to do this?
Here we go. You remember how to roll that teleprompter
Okay,
now.
I do. Go.
So with all the talk about Toronto's NBA playoff run this week, and Deb, you know I love a sports story, we thought that we would show you a raptor of another kind in New Brunswick this time. This one is much taller than any of the Toronto players.
Okay, then. It looks far more menacing as well. It's a near life-size T-Rex made by a local sculptor, a project he took on at the request of his grandkids. Just have a look.
Hi, big guy. Did you brush your teeth this morning? I got all the kids around, all the grandkids, to give me their T-Rex. Everyone's got about 5 T-Rex dinosaurs, right? But the one that I chose is like, yeah, he's hunting for you. He's looking for you. It's around 11 feet at the top of the head, and it's 27 feet long. The T-Rex that we have here is made out of the white styrofoam you can buy like from Home Hardware. And so you take all those blocks and you glue them all together, and you have this great abstract thing that looks like a bunch of blocks. From then you carve, and it's like electric hot wire. You can just take and carve great big pieces off. After that, there's special coatings that go on. 5 months working at it. In the beginning, it was such fun. I said, this is my element right here. After about 2 months on a stepladder, it turned from the dinosaur to the monster. He likes to be tickled under his chin, just like my cat. I'm a strong believer of touch. This T-Rex is not 20 feet away. Let the kids sit on his big feet. You can say, I touched a T-Rex. So far, it's been very rewarding and good fun.
The flyway.
The fly was almost as big as the T-Rex.
So, Jonathan, when's the last time you got all dolled up like this?
I don't know, but it's a little snug.
And of course, Jonathan is teaching over at College of North Atlantic.
That's a rumor.
So you don't look like that in class every day. You're
I
much
don't.
more
No,
casual.
no, I usually lose the tie. Yeah.
Anyway, this is so much
Yeah, it's wonderful
fun.
to be here. And I am nervous as heck, I have to say, because I don't want to spoil your big moment.
Cut to commercials.
Or do I?
Cut to commercials.
Well, before we go to commercial, I wanted to share our wonderful weather photo. We've had a couple nice evenings, and that golden light is perfect for photos. I will tell you where this picture was taken when we come back.
Well, I was just on the pond, and I can tell you there's a cold northerly wind blowing.
Kitty Bitty Lake, rowing, getting ready for the regatta.
Yes, yeah.
No wonder you can still fit in your suit.
Well, you know, it's a little tight on the shoulders and the biceps, but otherwise it's perfect.
welcome to Here and Now magazine. I'm Debbie Cooper. Tonight, Igor's Wrath.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Jonathan Crow.
And I'm Debbie Cooper. Jonathan, it just looks awful down there. I guess it is obvious
well,
why
Debbie,
it was cancelled.
Sports reporter Jonathan Crow is a little damp at the moment, and the decision to cancel or postpone the regatta is an obvious one.
For the Labrador Winter Games, and he's joining us now from Happy Valley Goose Bay. Hi there, Jonathan.
Hi, Debbie. What you're seeing, of course, is a satellite dish, and we're showing you that because history is being made tonight. You may not realize it. It's the first time that we're beaming live via satellite from Labrador into Here and Now.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Flock of seagulls. Don't you love the archives?
Yeah, they're wonderful.
Now, can we just make all that go away? Yeah.
That was fun looking at.
And you're in for about 10 days of that.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you think, Anthony, looking back at the way we were?
Yeah, it gives me so much to look forward to in the future. Yeah, it's good to see you, Professor Crow.
Oh, yeah, thanks, bud.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm very well, thank you. Yeah. And somewhere an Egyptian empress is looking for her hairdo.
I know. What do you think, Ashley?
I love it. It's great. You haven't changed a bit.
Well,
not even a little bit.
That's kind.
Do you know what it was like? Do you know? I got to say this. Do you know what it was like working next to her for like 11 years? Because I got older and fatter and balder, and Deb just got. Everybody'd say, "No, how old is Debbie Cooper?" Sure, she never changes.
Yeah. Never.
And then they'll say to me, "But you're much bigger in person."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You're much bigger in person.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Personality.
Goodness.
Lucky I'm not sensitive or anything.
I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah. You take a look at some pictures?
Take a look.
Pictures?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Our weather photo?
Picture the photo. There's Debbie
Yeah.
walking off in the
Yeah.
sunset.
That's right.
Well, you know, when Ashley brought that up before commercials, I thought, that looks pretty inviting.
It does.
I'm going to take a stroll like that, or two,
That's
or three.
what you do that all the time.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you're
that's
not
pretty
going to have to go
close.
too far. Yeah, Woody Island is where that photo was taken.
Okay, I've never been there.
No, it looks great though. Again, with that.
A lot of people have
Evening sun.
wonderful time out there.
What's the first thing you're going to do when you retire, Deb? You know, apart from wake up with a monumental hangover.
Thanks a lot, Jonathan. After I wake up from that hangover, I'm going to probably walk Signal Hill.
Oh.
Yes.
Words you never thought you'd hear Debbie Cooper say on Here and Now.
He brings out the worst in me.
Now you can. Now you
Some
can
would say
meet
the
me at
best.
lunchtime.
That's why they made me retire.
Anyway, I can't believe that you're here. Now, the only person who's missing from this little reunion is Ryan.
Yes, yeah.
And you would love to have a chat with him.
Yeah.
In fact, you went up to Halifax.
I did. Met him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you were up there for a little, I guess, training or familiarization.
Yeah.
We'd have to have a GoFundMe though, because he's too cheap to buy an airfare.
There is that aspect to him.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you grow up on a farm.
That's right.
Every
That's
penny
right.
counts.
That's
but
right. He was telling me once
Ryan,
how, you
poor
know,
Ryan.
they'd replace the fence posts, they'd turn them upside down instead of buy new ones, right? Very frugal, Ryan.
I think
Yeah.
that's very smart.
Yeah.
It is smart.
What is it? A fool and his money is soon
That's
parted?
right, and his 50-year-old snowblower is still working. I can attest to that.
He gave it to you, right?
He gave it to me, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's so lovely to see you.
And so unexpected.
Yeah, and
It is
you're probably
lovely.
going to have a few more drop-ins before the...
You never know.
You never know who's going to show up.
You never know.
Yeah.
Get set for the ride with me.
I'd say probably some of your victims from interviews past will be by.
I think you left some gum under here, Jonathan. You can take that back with you.
Actually, it's right here.
Thank you so much. That was a total
my
surprise.
pleasure.
Yeah, it
My
worked.
pleasure.
Thank
It
you
worked. You pulled it
for
off.
All his
putting
idea.
up with
All
it.
his
Yeah,
idea.
yeah,
Anyway,
his
thank you
idea.
for
Great to
having
see you.
me.
Good
Lovely
night,
to be here.
everyone.
See you tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
See you tomorrow. Oh, what a nice idea. I'm so surprised.
Good.